I'm here with Esteban Gomez, and he is actually an expert when it comes to Facebook ads. And he's also a friend of mine. We mastermind a lot, we talk a lot. And actually, Esteban was one of the first guys who also introduced me to the whole dropshipping model. And I'm super excited to be here with Esteban here. And I'm going to pick his brain today about Facebook ads. And we're going to use his e-commerce store as a case study. He actually is crushing it with dropshipping using Facebook ads, and he made, I think, $299,000 in the last 12 months. So Esteban, welcome, and thanks for being here.
Awesome. Yeah. Thanks for having me, Till. Yeah. Well, basically in 2015, I went to a conference in Miami. And then they presented the dropshipping model, but I didn't get started with it. My brother got started with it, and then I started seeing that he started getting awesome results. So then I basically thought I need to start doing this. So I started doing e-commerce. I partnered up with a friend. We started our first store, which failed, and then we started like our second store, like in I don't know, mid 2016, and that's when we found our first winning campaign, which was awesome. I made my first $100,000 with that in sales, um, selling just one product. So that's like a
Right.
first big success, and pretty much it was just a bunch of trial and error, testing products after products. Seeing what worked, what Facebook objective worked for
Yeah.
e-commerce, how to split test the campaign, and what I like to do is that once I figured out how it worked, I just try to keep it as simple as possible, and if you just keep things simple but focus on the basics and just repeating the basic stuff over and over again, like for launching campaigns, then you're just eventually gonna hit something. It's just like a matter of numbers, and that was my mentality when I got started because at least for me, I'm not like the type of guy that just gets lucky from the start, like in anything I do for some reason.
Yeah, yeah.
There are some people like in everything they do, they just hit it from the first time they do it, like sports, business, whatever. It's just crazy. I'm like the opposite. I never get it right at the start. So
Yeah.
I just know it's a numbers game, and you just have to keep testing, 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 doing the same things repetition over and over again. And actually, I'm really big on repetition and consistency because that's like you can fake anything, but you can't fake consistency and repetition. So
Yeah.
we started testing products after products after products after products, and then eventually we hit like our first big product. And then we made a bunch of money, and then we had with that money like a room to breathe and to start testing more products.
Yeah.
And then we took it from there, and from there that was my like e-commerce was like not my first Facebook ads experience, but it gave me like a lot of insights, a lot more knowledge about how Facebook ads worked, and yeah, that's how I got started. And right now, actually, I decided to focus on like a different side of the business, which is building a Facebook marketing agency, where we run paid ads for our clients. But at the end of the day, like running Facebook paid ads, it's the same thing. You just have to know like who your target audience is, have a high converting offer, and then just if you align like I always tell people like if you just align with the right audience with like the right offer,
Yeah.
it's just gonna convert. It's just like
Yeah,
keep it
yeah.
simple.
That's like
So
the most
that's the
important
story.
part. Like if you get that part right, and I always tell that people as well, if you have like the right hot product for a hungry like niche or hungry crowd, like that's 80% of your success in anything you do in business, anything you want to sell. And also I think it's awesome because I mean a few things. A lot of people start with e-commerce and they get discouraged because they test like one product and then it doesn't work out and they're like, oh, this drop shipping thing, this e-commerce doesn't work, and they get depressed and all of that. And I think a huge part, as you said, like I'm also like you, I don't get lucky the first time. I need to execute consistently, find systems, lots of trial and error, and then I can take what I learned and kind of put it into a predictable system. But most people don't understand that it takes a lot of testing and tweaking until you hit gold. But then once you hit gold, it's
Yeah,
rewarding for like a very long time. And one thing I like about you is like the
yeah,
simplicity. Like one thing a lot of people have a misconception about is like the thing with the products. They think like they need 300 products on their store, and I have like people messaging me almost every day saying, I hired someone on Upwork to add 200 products to my store. And I'm like, dude, you're approaching it the wrong way. Like in some cases, that might
Yeah.
make sense if you're doing influencer marketing, but for Facebook ads, it's totally not required. So like, it's amazing. Like you made so much money. I mean, we're gonna put in the screenshot in this video. I'm gonna edit it in the screenshot of the total sales volume in Shopify and also the best month. And a lot of that came from one product. So if you have one winning product, you can scale it up. You don't need 200 items or 300 products. You can actually just test one product at a time. You can have just one product in your Shopify store along with a few related products or even dummy products. And then you can drive all that traffic to that product, and you can just test different niches and different products and really quickly find out what works. And you're just a prime example for how just keeping, continuing and persisting and just testing products until you hit a winner and keeping things simple is just like a proven formula for success. So let's talk about
Yeah.
yeah, let's talk about the campaign. So what, like, from all your e-commerce campaigns, how do you run, like, if you would have to start a brand new dropshipping store or e-commerce store, how would you start and what type of ads would you run? Like what type of objective would you start with? How much money would you spend? And then
Yeah.
how would you go about scaling up, maybe changing the objective later on? Like what's your exact process? I'm sure by now you have like a kind of a systematic approach to Facebook ads that you also teach other people. So what's your process step by step when setting up Facebook campaigns?
Yeah, well, basically, what I would just do is just run website conversion campaigns. Some people do PP to start to see if they actually get engagement, because if they don't get engagement, it's probably not going to work with website conversions, and it's cheaper to test that way. But the way I've always done it is just website conversions. I always, unless it's like a mature pixel, always do add to cart unless a pixel has like zero data. If it has like zero data, just use view content for the first, I don't know, 50 add to carts, 30 add to carts, and then just
Yeah.
use add to cart. You don't have to change it. You just use create new ads as an add to cart with new products or new interests. But what I suggest you do, something really powerful, is using like flex targeting. So you would do like 4 to 5 ad sets. Flex targeting is just like intersecting two interests. So for example, if you're in the dog niche, you can intersect I love my dog with Dog Lovers Magazine or something like that, so that people who are actually targeted are super targeted. And you would use, or you can do like, for example, target dogs, and just in each ad that use one different interest. So you can target dogs and I love my dog, dogs and
Yeah, and
dog magazine or something like that.
that would be different ad sets then. So you would have like one campaign,
Yeah.
and you would, because that's kind of the process that I use and that like I teach beginners to have like a campaign and then use, I mean, you use the audience insights tool as well, like to start off, I guess, before you
Yeah.
do anything. So you would, I guess, I mean, we can use like the dog niche. You would like, first of all, pick a country, like let's say the US or Australia or Canada, and then you would like, how would you start? You would like search for dog keywords, and then you would look at pages with like maybe a high affinity score or high relevance for that niche, and then you would set up basically the ad sets and either use the flex targeting, or you would target let's say 3 or 5 or 10 different interests in one campaign, and each ad set would be targeting a different interest. Is that correct?
Yeah, so basically what I would do is, like, one of the problems I see a lot of people doing is that they just launch like 1 or 2 campaigns that they don't work. And like I said, it's like the numbers game. So
Yeah.
if you just launch, like, for example, 10 campaigns, each campaign has a different product. Inside each campaign there are 4 to 5 ad sets, and they can have one interest per ad set or being flex targeted. And obviously, assuming you have a nice ad, nice copy, nice image, etc. Like if you launch 10, like, at least one of those is maybe not gonna be a winner, but it's just gonna work. It's gonna make sales. So imagine if you launch 50, like, the probabilities that at least one of those works is pretty high.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that's why that's a mentality I adapted. I was like, I'm gonna launch 50 campaigns and something has to. So basically, all I do is like, well, I'm not actually working on this anymore because I took the decision that I gotta focus on one thing, and then the one thing I'm gonna focus on is my agency, because if I don't focus on one thing, I don't get results. I'm not the type of person that can do
Yeah.
many things at once. But basically, you would only need to go to Facebook, do the market research. By market research, I mean spying on ads other people have. Make sure they have engagement, like more than 5,000 reactions. Like
Okay, okay,
it's
okay,
not a
okay.
rule of thumb, but
How do you personally like there's different ways to spy on ads. I just want to make sure that people like understand the
yeah,
exact process. So when you spy on ads, do you use the Facebook search field and like look for your like for certain terms, like or how do you
yeah,
how do you personally spy on competitors and products?
yeah. You just gotta go to the search bar and type things like 50% off, 40% off, 60% off.
Plus the keyword
Grab
like
yours
of your niche.
here, buy it now. Let's see. You can do general terms like that. You can also do niche plus buy it now. So, for example, dog buy it now,
Yeah.
dog 40% off. You could do the name of the product, like let's see, like let's say shirt 50% off, or hat 50% off. So you can
Yeah.
target all the niches and see which one is selling. You can type also grab yours here, um, tag a friend or some. You just start doing like the research and you start seeing what type of copy they're using in
Yeah.
the ads, and you just type in the search bar. Then you just scroll, 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 find ads that have high engagement, high comments, a lot of shares, and obviously that are crushing it. And then you just model that, and you can also um, test similar products from AliExpress or whatever. So, for example, if there's a successful hat, you can search for other hats in that niche and test them out.
Yeah.
And then on the audience insights, all I do is I look for fan pages that are active, they have engagement, and I really don't look at the affinity because, for example, if I target a dog magazine, it doesn't have a high affinity, but it has a lot of engagement and a lot of people commenting on the post. It has
Yeah.
posts being uploaded daily. Like obviously, it's people who love dogs. It's active, so like if the affinity is low, it's not that it's not targeted. So you just think about it this way. It's pretty simple. If there's people who like a dog magazine and the dog magazine is posting posts about dogs and people are engaging with the post, it's obviously because they like the dog. So if you put the
Yeah.
right product in front of them, they're gonna buy it. But it's the product is like everything. Assuming you have like a decent targeting, obviously if you have a amazing dog product targeting cat lovers, it's not gonna work.
Yeah. Yeah.
But if you have a right targeting, a nice ad and a nice product, it's gonna make sales. So
Right.
that's pretty much how I do it. One campaign, 4 to 5 ads per campaign. One ad per ad. It's the same ad for all of them because you always want to be testing just one thing at the same time,
Mm-hmm.
which in this case would be the targeting. And if you're launching several, if you like, the two most important variables are targeting and product. So to test this at the same time, you would target, you would create several campaigns, which is one campaign, one product per campaign, and inside of those campaigns, one interest per ad set or being flex targeted.
Yeah.
So that way you are testing the two most important variables. And with that being said, then it's just a matter of testing more products.
Yeah, that makes sense. So, and that brings me to split testing because basically on the ad set level, you are split testing the interests or the targeting, as you said, and on the campaign level, you're split testing products, right? So on the campaign level, you're testing different products, and each product campaign has then different ad sets with different interests or the flex targeting, and that way you can move on really fast and find out like which products are getting traction, gaining traction, or are winners and get you sales, and which interests. And I mean, I fully agree because something a lot of people do is like they create an ad set and they add like hundreds of interests in there, in
Yeah.
like in very general interests. And the problem with, I mean, let me know if you agree. The problem with general interest is that you don't really know who you're targeting. Because if you target a specific Facebook fan page, you know exactly you're targeting those, 500,000 or 2 million people. But if you target a general interest like golfing, like Facebook has its own algorithm to determine who's in that audience, and that might be someone who likes a page about golfing. It might be someone who searches about golfing. It might be lots of different parameters that put people into that audience. And another thing is if you have like hundreds of interests in one ad set, you're not split testing. You might get sales, and you don't really know from which interest those sales are coming. So you're just wasting a ton of money on interests that aren't profitable. And if you split test it, like Esteban is saying, you can determine exactly which ad set, and because there's just one interest per ad set, you can determine exactly which interest is making you sales, and you can kill all the other ones, and it's super lean because you don't waste any money, right?
Yeah, exactly. And you will generally know if the ad set is working once it spends like $10, because like a key metric you'll notice and you should keep an eye on when you launch a campaign is that click-through rate. Depending on the niche, but if your click-through rate, like link click, is above 1%, it generally is gonna work because people are actually clicking on it and it's relevant to them.
Yeah.
If it's lower than that, it's not likely gonna work as well because it's not as relevant. So that's like a very important metric, like the link click-through rate or the ad click-through rate in general. Because if the offer is relevant, then people are gonna click on it. So if it's not relevant, then the click-through rate is gonna be lower, and then it's not gonna have such a good results. So for example, if like something that's really important is like the higher the click-through rate, the lower the cost per click, and vice versa. So if you have a super high click-through rate, the cost per click is going to go down, which means you get more clicks for cheaper price, and then more clicks if you have a good offer, then it's going to convert. And not only for e-commerce, like for anything you're advertising on Facebook, if your offer is good, the more people that view it, the better results you're going to get. So obviously, and the image is the most important thing, because you really want to have a great image, because Facebook is not like a place where people go to buy stuff. Facebook is a place where people just go like to see what other people are doing, or read blog posts, etc., find cool stuff. So your image has to really be something that pops. And that's a big mistake I see a lot of people doing. When I used to do coaching, I'm not doing coaching anymore, but when I used to do it, like I saw some really crazy, terrible images. Like, so I started realizing like people need to put in the effort of creating a great image, and it's not hard at all. You can use tools like Canva.com and make a great image that actually pops and pre-sells the product or whatever offer you're selling. Because think about it, if most traffic comes from mobile, well, at least a lot of it, and if you're just like scrolling and you see a crappy image, why are you gonna take the time to view it and view the ad and read what it says? But if you see an image that really pops and catches your attention, then you're gonna be like, oh, what's this about? Let me check it out. Let me read it. And then once you read it and you see something relevant to you, you may then click it. But if the image, you might have the best offer in the world, like whatever it is, but if the image doesn't catch people's attention, they're not gonna pay attention to whatever it is that you're offering.
Yeah.
So that's
totally agree.
Pretty much my way.
Yeah. Okay, man. Couple questions. So one question is, how much do you spend if you start out like, and you have all these different campaigns and ad sets? How much do you spend per ad set, like a daily budget? And what is your, like, what is you talked about the click-through rate. Personally, in my ads, I'm not really concerned about the click-through rate. I look more at the cost per click, which is kind of, the click-through rate and the cost per click is kind of the same thing, but it's a different side of the same metal. So I kind of look at, not at the click-through rate, but at the cost per click, and look at the interest that way. And you can also do it with the click-through rate. But so what do you recommend people spend per ad set, daily budget? And how much, what would you say is like a good cost per click, in your opinion, in the US market?
I suggest people, depending on the budget, but they can start with $5 a day per ad set, or 10 max, which is what I do. But honestly, like the cost per click, depending on like high competitive niches, can be like up to $1, a bit more than $1, 80 cents. So like if somebody is selling like get 1 cent clicks, that's just like I think it's impossible to get 1,000 clicks in the US for a competitive niche.
Yeah,
But your clicks should be like if you have a $4 clicks, that's just wrong.
yeah,
Obviously,
I
it's
agree.
it's just terrible. But if you have like depending on the on how competitive the niche is, the click might be even up to $2 maybe. But like $3 or more than that is just like bad targeting, bad offer, or bad image. Um, but at the end of the day, it's how much sales it brings in. So the click through rate, the cost per click are just like secondary stuff you want to check if like initially when you are starting
Yeah.
out. If it has like a super high cost per click, then it's not likely going to make sales or work. So cost per clicks, let's just say between 50 cents and $2 are
Yeah.
okay. And this is just like a general approach because it depends on many factors. But just keep in mind, like if you have like $4 clicks or $3.50 clicks, $3 clicks, that's just
Super high.
there's stuff that can be improved. Yeah.
I think even above $1 in the US can be super high. Like I think in my experience in the US, if you like 30 cents is on the low end, 50
Yeah.
cents to $1 is normal. In Europe, it's totally different. Even in Australia and other places, like if you have like a $1 cost per click, that's extremely like in Europe, that's like having a $10 cost per click in the US. But
Yeah.
so yeah, one big factor I think is the country. But in the US, it's going to be higher. And you're right. Like the most important thing is like, are you getting sales? Are you breaking even and making profit?
Yeah.
And yeah, that's with spending $5 to $10 a day is also something I like teach people because it's super lean. You can have like let's say you have an ad set and you have or a campaign and you have five different interests with five different ad sets targeting each interest, then you're spending $5 a day. And then you can also test a second product, also targeting five interests, for example, and then it's $10 a day. So it's super lean. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, so regarding the actual ad and the ad copy, that's something a lot of people are confused about, and there's different models. So what I usually do personally is like I run carousel ads. But so how do you do the ads? Do you just use like, first of all, do you use promoted posts or dark posts, or do you use normal Facebook ads? Do you use carousel ads or just have a single image and you split test different images? Um, like, how do you go about it? Some people even try video ads and think that's the best thing. I personally don't think video ads is like the best way to go. But what's like your philosophy on this?
Just doing a regular photo ad, like 3-in-1, 4-in-1 type of image, like in Canva, where there
Mm-hmm.
are multiple images, same image. Regular post on the fan page, I like to do like the copy starting with a question because that catches people's attention.
Yeah.
So, love dogs. Then this dog necklace would look beautiful on you. Grab it here with 50% off today only, like scarcity. And then at the bottom, like tag a fellow dog lover who would love this. And make sure there's like a space in between the three lines. And then you would go like in the middle line and make sure it's like a key link, which I see also a lot of people doing. Add like a link that's like this long. So, for example, you do like yourstore.com dash product dash your product or
Yeah.
dash dog necklace instead of like cute, beautiful, sexy dog necklace silver or something like
Yeah.
that. And that's pretty much the format I use. I
Okay.
use other
One second,
formats,
because you
but
just cut out for a moment.
using a question.
You just cut out for a
Yep.
moment. So I think you were talking
Okay.
about like I lost you where you were talking about the images. Are you using Canvas or Canva for the? By the way, that's a software you can use like to crop and edit images and stuff like that. But so you start with a question like love dogs, for example, and then you always want to have a discount and make a great offer. I mean, either free plus shipping or in
Yes.
your case like a great discount, and you want to have like urgency and scarcity and stuff like that in your copy. And then you were talking about something about the link, and then I lost you, I think.
Yeah. So, for example, on line number one, you would say something like "love dogs." Then this cute dog necklace would look great on you. Um, Adding emojis works really well. Then it would do like two enters, so you would have a small space in between the next line. The next line would say, "Grab yours with 50% off today only here." Um, and then right below it, no space, the link,
Mm-hmm.
then a space, blank space, and then another line that says like tag a friend or tag someone who would look beautiful with this, and that's pretty much it. Like using emojis, don't making it look spammy, just a couple of emojis, make it catch the attention of people,
Yeah.
and that's pretty much it. Yeah.
And do you have text on the image, or do you just have a clean image? Because some people
Clean
put
image.
like, yeah, some people put like
Yeah.
a badge on the image, like, you know, free plus shipping or stuff like that. And I've tested those personally, and for me, the clean image did better. So, and you also do the clean images.
Yeah, I do clean images and try to show people using the product as well.
Okay, gotcha. So, but you mentioned you would have like an image with different images inside. So you would have like one image, and then you would have like, for example, you know, the product by itself, the product, how it's used. So you kind of use the space you have effectively to showcase the product and the benefits and how it's used in one image. Is
Yeah,
that
so
correct? Yeah.
for example, I had an ad that was a 4-in-1 image. So it was like it had the entire height on the left hand side. So there was a model with a purse, and it had 3 small images on the right hand side. So let's just say there was a color of each purse on each of the images. So on the tall image, there's a model using it, and on the other side, it's just the product itself.
Yeah. Gotcha.
Yeah.
And then you link directly to the product page. And something I learned from you also is like, I think you introduced me to the Hurrify Shopify plugin, which is something that I think
Okay.
increases like conversions like crazy. So what I mean, we talked a bit about the ads and the objective. So you start with conversion ads usually. You optimize for add to carts. You then target different, you know, interests, split testing on the ad set level, sometimes flex targeting. We talked about the ad copy and the way you set up the ads. Just one final clarification. So do you use dark posts, or do you use like, because there's like when you set up an ad in the ad manager, you can select usually existing post or create a new ad, and it's a slightly different format. So which one do you usually use?
Yeah, I just create the post on the fan page and then use existing posts on the Power Editor,
Yeah,
and that's
that's
it.
what I do. Because I
Yeah.
think, let me know what you think, but in my opinion, if you have the post on your page, it's not a dark post, but it's like an actual promoted post technically. But a lot
Yeah.
of people from your ad are going to look at your Facebook page. They're going to click on your Facebook page or like the page. And if your ad is at the very top of your Facebook page, a lot of people will actually see the ad 2 times. And in my experience, a lot of people buy from the ad that is, you know, on the Facebook page. So I think it's just an awesome way to get additional exposures and sales. So kind of the people who fall through the net from the ad, they don't buy, but they somehow end up on your Facebook page. They see the ad again, and then they click and buy. So it's like a really nice stack effect.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool. So let's talk about the product page. How do you go about optimizing that? You know, what's your like? What type of Shopify apps do you use? How do you go about that?
Yeah, I mean, it's just the basic stuff like having good-looking images, having a catchy title, nice title, having a nice description that looks professional,
Yeah.
and overall just making look the entire page professional. And this is something. This is a mistake I see a lot of people doing as well, that they just don't put any effort in the page and the images, so it looks like really unprofessional. So that also makes people not trust the stores.
Yeah.
But if you just make the page overall professional and it looks like a real, like a legit store, then that's all you need. Like have a nice title, nice images, nice description, and as just having a big add to cart button, um, a banner that with a secure checkout image, like the credit card and stuff like that, and then yeah, that's pretty much it. Add your logo to the checkout part, like at the top,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, that's it.
But
Make it.
do you use Hurrify or some app
Oh
to
yeah,
increase conversions? Yeah.
Yeah, the only app I use on the product page is Horify, and the other apps for the store like Mailchimp. No, yeah, Mailchimp.
Yeah.
Then Abandonment Protector, Horify, Pixel Magic for tracking with Facebook ads, and then mm, yeah, I think those are the main ones. You don't really need like 50 apps. You just need like Horify, Trackify, Abandonment Protector, Mailchimp, and yeah, maybe I'm
Yeah.
missing one, but those are like the main ones you need.
Yeah. Awesome. So let's go back to the Facebook ads because that's kind of your specialty. So we talked about how like a beginner or a newbie should set up, his ads using your method.
Yeah.
And I agree with pretty much everything you said. Like the only thing I think some people I think it's good to experiment a bit with different objectives in the beginning, like PPE, sometimes website clicks, conversion ads, just to see like what works, not to be too rigid. But apart from that, fully agree with everything you said. But so let's say you have a winning campaign, and how do you go about scaling up? Like how do you scale up? How do you go from spending $5 to $10 a day to spending what you spent on ads? Like how much did you spend? What was like the most you spent in a day on Facebook ads, by the way, if you can
I think it
recall?
was like $2,000. What I did just was slowly every day increase the budget a little bit, like from 10 to 15, 15 to 20, 20 to 25, 25 to 30. Right now, like having high budgets doesn't work most of the times. So just like leave it at 30 and then just launch more interest, one per ad set.
Yeah,
When you're stating you only need to do one per ad set because you already know that it works. And then you just kill the ones that don't work, like spend $10 for each testing ad set. And then the ones that work, you just keep increasing gradually until you find like the sweet spot. If you increase more and sales drop, you just lower it back down and then you leave it as it is.
yeah,
And then a lot of people are doing manual bidding right now and crushing it. I'm not really I'm still learning manual bidding, but yeah, a lot of people are crushing it with that. So, but still, you can make $15,000 in sales per month just with like automatic bidding, having a bunch of ad sets, $30 per day,
yeah,
and easy to make $500 a day.
yeah, yeah. I
Same.
agree, and even more than that. Like I know,
Yeah,
I just had one coaching client who used the exact method. Pretty much the only difference was he was using PPE ads, but
okay,
he was doing PPE. He was targeting like different interests, uh, per ad set, and he started making like $1,000 a day, and
nice.
all automatic bidding. Like, but it was not in the U.S., so it was like it was in Germany. So like in general, like outside of the US, you can get away with more mistakes, and because everything's newer there and easier in general, but it's harder to scale up. But yeah, so do you agree that you should go wide when you scale up, like by multiplication? Because a lot of people have the misconception that, oh, if I have a winning ad set that's doing well at $10, it means if I spend $100, it's going to do 10 times better. I mean, it's going to make me 10 times as much sales. And people assume this linear curve between the daily spend and the results, right? And my theory is kind of that Facebook ads is like a bell curve. So you increase to 10, 20, 30, and at some point you reach the tipping point, and then your results exponentially decrease the more money you spend on ads. That's one way like to mathematically explain why so many people are getting this experience that you're describing.
Yeah, I mean that's it doesn't work that way because when you spend more money on Facebook, Facebook charges you more, so you get less clicks. So that's why you have to look for the sweet spot on the ad set. So let's just say $30 a day on each ad set is giving you a nice return on investment, then just keep it that way. Because
Yeah,
if you get too greedy and you think if you spend 200 on that ad set, you're gonna make 600, and you probably spend 200, you're gonna make like 300 maybe.
yeah,
Just an example, but that's why you have to find the sweet spot. For higher budgets, then use manual bidding. It's a different method, but with automatic bidding, you can still do great. It's great for learning. Manual bidding is more advanced, and you can still do great with automatic bidding. But that's where you have to find like the sweet spot. Gradually increase every day. Check the past 3 days to see if it's still making you sales. The past 7 days, see if sales are still going up, then you can
Yeah.
keep increasing. If sales start going down, then just leave it as at the sweet spot, and
never
that's
touch it
pretty much it.
again, right? Because a lot of
Yeah,
people they pause ads, restart them. They're like, oh, I'm gonna change this word in the copy, and every time they pause and reapprove the ad kind of loses the momentum. And I've heard so many stories, and this is my experience as well. When you have a winning ad and it's making profit for you and it's at the tipping point as we described, don't touch it again as long as it's profitable, because every time you change the budget or you pause it and reapprove it or you mess with it, it might actually get worse. It might actually stop working.
yeah,
In some
yeah,
cases, ads that were getting a great ROI, people, all they did is pause and reactivate it, and then it had a negative ROI. And it's the same ad copy, the same interest they're targeting, everything's the same. So I believe
yeah.
momentum is also a big part of Facebook ads for some reason. I don't know exactly, and
Right.
nobody knows, how the Facebook algorithm works, but it definitely, there's momentum is related to the Facebook algorithm and results. So once you have those campaigns that are consistently making sales, and you explore the tipping point, just leave them running as long as they're profitable. And then what you say is people should people should scale up by multiplying. And the way you multiply is, how do you multiply? I heard you talking in the past also about duplicating ads. Something I do a lot is just stacking different different objectives and different interests. So let's say if I have like 5 interests that are profitable, I would just go back to the audience insights tool and dig deeper and try to find another 15 pages that I can target, and then I can kind of multiply by going wide and stacking different ad sets and interests. And also something I then do is I then take uh, I then create custom audiences from my from my add to carts and sales, and then
Yeah,
I create lookalike audiences. Then I target my lookalike audiences. So again, I'm stacking, I'm multiplying my audiences, and then I create different ads with different objectives. Optimizing for add to carts, optimizing for purchases, optimizing for this and that, targeting all sorts of different combinations of lookalike audiences, and that way you can have like so many different ad sets running different combinations that it's really easy to scale up. Like, what's your philosophy, and how do you go about this? Is this a similar thing you do like this, or how do you actually multiply your campaigns?
all right. Yeah, so basically to scale up, same thing, just launch more interest, one interest per ad set. Launch more ad set, sorry. Well, it's pretty much the same thing, one interest
Yeah.
per ad set. Then you just spend $10 for each one. You see which ones are converting, which ones are not. The ones that are not, you pause them. The ones that are, you slowly start increasing the budget. So, for
Yeah.
example, if you have 10 more ad sets that are making sales, and each one spends $10, you're spending $100 extra. And then if you just get them to $20 each, you're spending now $200 extra. And if you get them to 30, you're spending 300. So it's like combination of scaling out and scaling up. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's pretty much what I do. It works really, really well, and keeping it simple. Yeah.
Yeah. Nice. And one more question, what type of metrics do you track? Like, because you can customize the columns in the ad manager, and something I tell people is to kind of not track. A lot of people send me like screenshots of the mobile Facebook ad application, which doesn't display the important metrics. Like, it just shows page post engagements and some other things. And they're like, hey bro, I'm not making any sales. Let me know what I have to do. And I'm like, the first issue is you're not displaying the right metrics, so you can't really understand what's going on. Like, just based on the page post, cost per page post, I can't judge why you're not getting any sales. I need to know like the country you're targeting. I need to know how many add to carts you got, how many clicks you get, what's your cost per click, what's your what's your cost per purchase, things like that. And then you can easily like judge, is this a normal, or is this a winning campaign, or is it just straight a losing campaign? So what are the metrics that you track in the ad manager?
Pretty much the ones I see are obviously purchase conversion value, view content, add to cart purchase, click through rate, link click through rate, cost per click, Um, what else? Those are the most important ones. Like, well, obviously amount spent. It's just comparing amount spent versus purchase conversion value, and tracking it down in like in an Excel sheet to see if that like the real, because on Facebook for me it doesn't show like the exact
Yeah.
purchase conversion value. So it's amount spent, purchase conversion value. Those are the main two. Then view content, add to cart, purchase, cost per click, and click through rate. And there are others that I track, but those are the most important ones. At the end of the day, if you have a if you're making more than what you're spending, then the rest are not going to be important. The rest are just like a secondary guide to see like how well the campaign is doing. But if it's making more than what you're spending, then that's pretty much it. Like that's the most important thing: how much you make versus how much you spend.
Yeah, totally agree. Yeah,
Yeah.
okay. I think we covered a lot of things regarding Facebook ads in this interview here. So to be honest, like it's so consistent with my experience. What you're saying, it's consistent with what I've been telling people. Of course, there's things that are different, but I mean, this is awesome advice. This is like top-notch advice. So thanks so much, Esteban. Do you have any final tip? Let's say someone is starting out, or let's say someone is interested in dropshipping, started out already, tested a few things, isn't getting any sales. What's your advice for those people?
Yeah, sure. I mean, my advice would be just to make sure you have a nice ad, like with a nice copy. I explained the nice image. Make sure you have the right targeting. Try flex targeting because that's gonna really narrow down the audience. And after that, just make sure you're testing products that are hot because e-commerce is like a trendy thing. So, for example, right now, there's a certain type of product that might be working really well, like handbags, let's just say as an example. So make sure you're not selling like the same old piece of jewelry that people have been selling on Facebook 3 years ago,
Yeah,
because obviously nobody's going to buy that.
yeah,
Try to innovate, try to see what stuff is selling. Higher priced items are really, really good. So just make sure you do the market research. You invest a lot of time doing the market research. See what products are hot, which products are selling, and then just keep testing, and that's like pretty much it. That's all you got to do. It's about like anything else. I like to compare it to the gym. Like if you just do the basic exercises day in and day out, you're gonna get results. If you just do the same, launch more campaigns and more campaigns with the basic settings, then something is gonna stick. So
right.
that would be my piece of advice. Just keep it simple, be consistent, be testing campaigns, and take action daily.